Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you all know, my name is Timmy Fields. I talk about lifestyle, education, and travels and some immigration tips. But today we have a guest with us, and as you guys can see on our screen already, her name is Marina Isiri. Many of you know her. She's from Saskatchewan, so I'm just going to give her the platform to introduce herself, and then we will start. So, Marina, please take the floor.
Hi, Timmy. Thank you very much for having me. Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today with this conversation. My name is Marina Iyeme Eteng. That's my legal name, but you may know me as Marina Isiri on YouTube. Isiri is actually my middle name, not my legal last name. So when people meet my husband and I, they're like, "Hi, Mr. Isiri." No, it's Mr. Eteng. And that's why I
Oh,
intentionally call him Mr. Eteng on my channel, just to remind people that please, he's not the one that took my last name, it's the other way around. Okay. Like Tammy said, I am in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan. By day, I'm a HR professional. I work in recruiting, and on the side, I run the YouTube channel Marina Isiri. And on my channel, I basically share information to make settling into life in Canada seamless for newcomers and foreign trained professionals. I try to use Saskatchewan as my base, but most of the things that I share can be replicated in whatever province it is you live in. Um, Aside that, I am the creative lead at Marina Isiri Consult, where I provide personalized one-on-one consulting services for people who have questions about settling into life in Canada. I'm a HR professional, so I also provide consultation for people who are trying to get into the HR profession in Canada or are foreign trained HR professionals trying to get back into HR in Canada, just all those questions around settlement. I'm not a licensed immigration consultant, so I do not provide immigration consulting. If that's the kind of information you're looking for, I'm sure Tammy has that, or we can recommend you to licensed immigration consultants. But for now, that's what I do. Marina Isiri Consults is relatively new. We just got it registered. So there's a lot of organizing and restructuring going on, structuring sort of going on there. And that's what I do. I'm a mom. I'm a mom of two kids. My son is almost 10. My daughter is 8. I'm married. I'm here with my family. Moved to Canada in 2016, in May of 2016, and I've been in Saskatoon since then. So yeah, I'm happy to be here and looking forward to the conversation that we're going to have today.
hmm, that was really juicy. Welcome, Marina.
Thank you.
We kind of have something similar in common. I used to be HR from back home as well, and
Nice.
yeah, but I did it for a while here, and then I switched for personal reasons. So yeah, and yeah, I'm in the health sector right now, and I do a bit of education stuffs, just to help admission and stuff like that. Yeah. Okay,
Nice.
guys. Today we're talking about parenting challenges for immigrants in Canada. And if you have watched Marina's channel, you realize that one of the major core aspects of our channel is parenting. She talks a lot about parenting. So that's why I brought her on board today to come share our own knowledge and ideas. Nobody knows it all, but at least we are all here to rub minds together. And after I have some set of questions here that I'll be asking Marina, and then she'll be throw more light into it. She'll throw more light into it, and then thereafter we can take questions. Guys, please let's restrict it kind of to anything parenting. Would always, because I know people will probably want to ask some other questions. So please, today is just for parenting advice, and how we can brush up our parenting skills. Okay, so thank you guys, and yeah, so let's get started. Okay, so Marina, I know you said you are a mom and mom of two kids. Of course, I have seen your kids on YouTube. Don't worry, very soon I'll come to Saskatchewan, right? That thing is very hard to even pronounce. Safe. Yeah, it's so hard to pronounce. I'll come there to visit one of these days. I haven't been there, but I would definitely come there. Now I have Marina, so watch out.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's just get started without wasting much of our time. And so my first question, actually, I have it down here, so I'll be asking them one by one. So I want you to throw more light into this question. Say, what's the difference between parenting in Canada and in Nigeria?
Hmm. You went for the hardest question first. Wow.
Oh,
Okay.
sorry.
Just kidding. So my kids were 3 and 2
Okay.
when I moved to Canada. So I had not started doing any serious parenting per se in Nigeria before I moved. But from what I've seen so far, and from the way I was raised, and from what I see my friends, my family who still live in Nigeria, like just comparing our notes, a lot of it is similar. A lot of it boils down to family, like what is happening inside your house. That's
Mm,
the thing that we share in common.
mm,
Um, it comes down to just understanding where you are, understanding the environment, what is obtainable in this place, what do I know that is not relevant where I am, what do I have to learn about this place that I didn't already know before. That's what I'm doing now. That's what I'm learning now. Some of the components of the way I was raised, some of the components of our culture in Africa, in Nigeria, where I'm from, some of those things, if I try to replicate it here, it will not be relevant. Take,
mm,
for example, the teachers. I was raised believing that um, the culture of respect means that when you're talking to an adult, you look down, you don't look them in the eye, you don't take things with your left hand, you don't talk back, you don't, in fact, when they're talking to you, just be quiet. That's the definition of respect that I was raised with. If you replicate that to a child in 2022, telling your kid that when an adult is talking to you, look down, you don't take things with your, they're going to look at you like you're going to be raising kids for something that's not relevant, because they will be bullied, because in the world today, that is seen as low self-esteem, zero confidence. That's how all of that will be interpreted. But for you, you think you're teaching them respect, but you're just setting them up for a world where they're going to struggle in. So it's understanding those differences. What is obtainable here? What's the equivalent of the value that I had where I was coming from? What's the equivalent here? And learning how to marry that. So the major difference I have seen so far with parenting is postal code is now different. It's still parenting inside your house. It is still a lot of open-mindedness. You're going to now learn how to be open-minded and just keep the options open. I don't know
mm.
if I'm explaining this well. It sounded better in my head, but
Yeah, 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 yeah. No, 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 no.
yeah,
You're eating
a
it
lot
right.
of it still boils down to what you're doing inside your house,
That's right.
learning the environment and adjusting your parenting style to now fit this place where you are and to fit what is relevant in today's day and age. So that's what I would say it is.
Okay, yeah, I agree with you, to be honest with you, because you can't really literally take the way our cultures are different, So we're
True
in a
that.
new environment, we're in a new country, so you have to settle in and understand how it works here. And just like you said, back home you can't give an elderly person with, something with your left hand. I mean, how? Well, how now? How? You don't go on try out, or you look at them when they're talking to you. You just have to keep short or keep quiet. So, but these are things that are different here, because sometimes you're talking and your kids are actually even challenging you. But again, they have to come across. They have to challenge you
True.
in a respectful manner.
That's where it comes down to the values of
The
what is
value
happening inside your
in
house.
the
Yeah.
house. So I agree with you. So people have to be very open-minded about this and just embrace it, because you have decided to come to the country. So please, you have to learn to embrace whatever comes with it. And then yeah. So anyways, the second question, Marina said, do you think, I understand that we have to be open-minded, we have to embrace the new culture, and just kind of imbibe everything with the way we train our kids at home. Well, the question is that how can we adopt this parenting method from back home here? uh, okay, let me rephrase. How should we adopt our parenting skills back home in Nigeria to the way we can actually train them here in Canada?
So it's like, how do we marry both? Like what you're coming from and this new
Yes,
culture?
how is it applicable to how we can actually train these kids here in Canada? Is this something that
Okay.
we can? I don't know. Can we continue I don't know if we can continue, but I'll leave that to you. Is it advisable for us to take those skills that we've been using from back home to bring it down here and still continue that in that way, but of course in a way
In
that
a different way. Yeah, I understand the question. So like I said, there are components of our culture and the way we were raised that we have to change, or it's not going to be relevant here. So I'm not saying that we're not going to do away with everything. It's not every aspect of our culture that is bad.
Hmm.
It was not all the components of the way we were raised and all of that. It's not all of it that was bad. So it now depends on us to identify which components of our culture can we continue. Like the culture of respect cannot, we're raising respectful children, right?
Right.
But what we now have to adjust here might now be, what does respect look like here in Canada? Is respect not talking to people and looking them in the eye? You are encouraged, because they teach our children that to be confident, you have a voice. If
Mhm.
you are now teaching them that when somebody is talking to you, don't talk, that's a direct conflict.
That's
Do you
right.
understand? So what you think you're teaching them as respect, it conflicts with what they're teaching them as confidence. That's where me as a parent, the job is now to say, in today's context, in this environment that we now live in, what does this value translate to? So for me, I'm not teaching my kids respect as when an adult is talking to you, bow your head down, don't talk back. I let them know that you have a voice that is valid. Your voice is valid. Yes, you have a right to say, but mom, I don't understand this. But what you cannot do is now be rude to me.
Hmm.
That's the one that we will not accept. So I'm teaching you respect to say you can talk, you value other people's opinions. That's also respect. The fact that the opinion is different from what you know doesn't automatically make it wrong and you right. So going from kneel down to greet or talk to this person, bow your head down, in this context, it is now looking like you can greet somebody and say, good morning, sir. I don't believe in saying hello as a kid to adults. I honestly don't subscribe to that. Nothing's wrong with it. For the average Canadian born child, that's how they greet. They say hello to people, and that's fine. The Nigerian in me still thinks that something is just off, especially when it's another Nigerian we're dealing with. We
Yeah.
can Hello is not an appropriate greeting. So it's
No.
still going to be good morning, sir. It's still going to be good morning, ma. If it's somebody from the part of the Nigeria we're from, like my cousin lives here, and my kids don't greet her good morning, ma. They greet her traditionally, migo auntie, because both of us are Urugu,
Yeah.
right? So that for me is what the component of my culture that I'm holding on to say we are going to keep replicating this regardless of where we are. And my children understand it. I find that when I explain to them to understand the reason why they're doing what they're doing, it sinks better than just saying, I'm telling you because I say so.
Hmm.
So getting their buy-in and realizing that even though my children are young, my son is 10, I have to remind myself that that's a whole human being by himself with his own preferences, with his own likes and dislikes that may be different from mine. So that's the first realization I came to, just knowing that I'm not going to be able to replicate my own choices all the time with my children. That in itself is respect. I'm respecting to accept their choices, accept the fact that they are different from me. And if it's not something that is bad and needs correcting, why do I want to change it? I'm not trying to photocopy myself in them. I'm trying to nurture them as individuals, provide guidance, not really replace who they are with who I am. So that for me is how I'm showing respect to my children. Do you understand what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's not something that I saw as a kid growing up. Our parents didn't really believe in mutual respect. It was a one way, you respect me, you don't do this, you don't do this. It was never, what can I do in return? So that's
Yeah.
an adjustment I'm making to say this respect is going to be a two-way street. It's not something that's supposed to be demanded, it's something that is earned. So
And
while I'm teaching you the value of respect, I am showing you that I am working to earn your respect as well. So when I complain and say you don't respect me, I'll have backup to say this is why this is not acceptable. Do you understand what I mean?
yeah.
So the culture, some of those values, like for me, integrity, honesty, not negotiable, regardless of where you are. That's values that I'm always going to hold on to and hand down to my children. So I'm not going to do away with that because in this society, people don't. Do you understand what I mean? It's
I think
always going to be a function of what is happening inside your family. Because regardless of where we live, yes, we're in Canada, yes, I'm in Saskatoon. In this family, it's like a nation by itself. In
that's
this
right.
house where we are, we have our own laws, we have a family constitution, we have the values that we live by. That's what we're doing inside our house. So, regardless of where you go, regardless of where you are, it's not negotiable. Those values we're not getting away from. Do you understand?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's what I am trying to do, to say these are the components of the values that I had growing up in Nigeria, and this is how I want to replicate it in my children. The difference is that I'm learning what the equivalents are. How does that show up here? I've just used respect as an example to say at the end of the day, the common value is respect, but it displays differently in two places. That's what we then need to learn. How does it display, and adjust your parenting style to make sure that you're enforcing it in a way that is relevant to them, that they can relate with.
Okay, thank you
Did
so
I
much.
answer the question?
Yes, you did. That was really deep. But I understand that, in a house you should have your own laws, and that's standard. Every home should have their own laws, and the kids have to abide. Even you as parents have to abide by that, right? Irrespective of whatever laws they have out there, that you all have to, just stick to, because you've decided to leave the comfort of your home to come to another country. So that's different. But now, how about kids that you have, and you have these laws, and they are so aware. I know we're just talking about this. I'm just going to be, and they're so aware that, okay, even with the laws that we have in our home, I would decide not to do it, and there's absolutely nothing mommy and daddy can do. So how do you go about that? They know that, okay, mommy doesn't take integrity for a joke, mommy doesn't take honesty for a joke, but I mean, I'm gonna do what I have to do, and let's see what she's gonna do. Some kids will definitely dare you. So how are you going to handle such a situation?
All children dare us all the time. All the time. I was a kid too, once upon a time. And I know the things that I try to push.
I
Uh,
know.
Especially when they're approaching those teenage years, there's always the tendency for rebellion to show up.
Always there. It's always
That's the
there.
truth. Preteens come with those, I'm going to try it and see. But it's very important how we as parents respond at times like that. That's what's going to give them the I can never try this again, or I can do this again and get away with it. Again, somewhere at the back of my head, I just feel like beyond it just being the youthful exuberance that comes with the preteen years, sometimes those kind of behaviors are not isolated. It could be a response to something. For me, my rebellion when I was a young adult was a response. I got to the point where I felt like I was tired of just being told what to do. The communication was one way. So when I got to the point where I realized that I can actually just talk, I was now trying to fight. Like, I will no longer be in the position where I just wanted to take instructions. I will rebel against it, whether it was good or bad, especially if it's good, just to test the fact that I can talk. So that was my own response. For kids this age, unfortunately, there are so many things our children are competing with in today's day and age. So many things, they're up against a lot more than we had.
That's right.
There's so much that they are fighting with. The stressors, the pressures, the distractions are a lot more. The devil is working overtime. So thinking about it, I would want to know from that child. Again, it boils down to the kind of relationship that you have had with the children. Do you have the kind of relationship where you talk and listen? Beyond just dishing out instructions, are you the kind of parent that your children can actually come to if they have concerns? It could just be that in class, that child has heard somebody say, my parent did this and I did this, and they want to come and test it at home. Explorers, natural explorers, they want to try it
Dora
out.
the Explorer.
If you don't respond the right way, if you do, there's a time and place for gbas. There's a time and place for fire for fire. There's a time and place to stop and say, okay, this is out of character. What is happening? Do investigation and just find out, like, okay, is there something you want to talk about? It's not typical that you would respond to me on a normal day like this. Are you struggling with something? Is there something you want to talk about? The place of kindness, the place of empathy, the place of love and respect.
Respect.
Because here's something I've noticed, especially for immigrant children. As parents, we make the decisions on their behalf to move here. We don't ask them. It's not their opinion. As far as we are concerned, we're doing it because we're trying to give them a better life. We define better life to mean you're going to be in a structure that works, you're going to be in a system where things relatively work, you're not going to struggle with this, you don't have to struggle with insecurity, there's always going to be power. Those are the things we look at. But for our kids, especially if you're coming here with children who are like teenagers or preteens who are very aware, better life, what you call better life, to them, you're taking them away from their friends. You're taking them away from their cousins. You're taking them away from their favorite teachers, from grandma, from grandpa, from all the things that they know to be fun. And you bring them to this place where everybody wears their clothes at the same time
Mm,
because it's winter.
that's
To
right.
this place where I go into class, I'm the only one who looks like me. I go into class, all my teachers look different from what I've known. When people are talking about their childhood experiences, I can't relate. When they're talking about the TV shows that they watched when they were in preschool, I can't relate. It's not the same thing. So technically, what you are calling better life is because you have a line of vision to what the future can be. Here and now, our children don't have that line of vision. And we're not taking time to explain these things to them. So all of these things can come together to breed that rebellion that we see in some of our children. It's
Mm,
the response to I miss what I know. I miss the life that I had. I liked the life that I had. I don't know why we're here.
mm,
Unfortunately, that's the sad reality. And sometimes these pressures can now make the kids tilt to the opposite direction of the values that you're giving them. So again, it could be a response. The rebellion that you see, that's pushing you and testing you, could be a response to say, let me see. Some of us use, I will take you back to Nigeria to threaten children. Just maybe that's what they want. So push her until she gets to the point where like, I can't take this again, go back. That's what they want. So we have to put all of it in context. Sometimes, as a parent, you can do all of this, do all the things right, and children still rebel. That's the place of prayer, my sister. Because
mm.
last, God is
God
everybody's
do.
father. God
Mm,
is not a grandfather. He's not my father and then grandfather to my children. The same way God is my father, is the same way God is father to my children. I am here as a caretaker. If it comes to the point where I don't understand what's happening, I've done all that I can and followed everything that I should have done, and the child is still turning out a certain way, I go back to the maker to say, sir, the
mm.
child that you gave me, I don't understand. What else can I do? So
Take
all of
control.
this put together, because I mean, there's only so much we can do at the end of the day.
That's right.
So that's what I think. It's
Mm.
all almost always not isolated. If you trace it back, you'll be able to find the root. And when we know the root, of course, we know the appropriate line of action to take to correct some of those things.
Yeah, I agree with you, strongly agree with you, because I realized that most of these kids, especially the teenagers and and above that are coming to Canada, they are more rebellious than those that came in at a younger age or those that were born here. And I kind of understand. So I'm like, I don't understand. You're coming from a country whereby you should know your rights from your wrong. Your parents don't have to
The
tell you.
adjustment is tough on them. The
But then
adjustment is
they
tough.
are more, and I'm like, God, why you people like this? Why are you treating your parents like this?
The
So
adjustment is tough.
it's,
And for
it's,
some of them, it can also be this parent that has treated me this way so far. It's now my
hmm,
turn to show you.
that's
It's
right.
like it's a response to something. Like if you trace it back, you'll be able to see. So for those parents who are looking to move from your home country and you are still at home, this is the time to start to right the wrong.
Yes, so
If you are the parent who is always the unidirectional communicator, you only talk and walk away because if they are mean that you are, just give instructions and go. This is the
they
time
are
to start to
boski,
build
they are
communication.
boski.
This is the time to start to build relationships, because when they get here and realize that there's another way, and trust me, the devil is lurking around.
Hmm.
The devil is lurking around, just looking for that one opening. All they have to do is sell one bad seed, one bad
That,
friend, one bad communication is what that child needs. And God forbid, it can spiral out of hand. So if you still have the opportunity to right those wrongs, correct, if you have, some of you have to go back and apologize to your children and say, sorry, I did what I knew. The intention was not to break you, it was not to hurt you. This is the information that I had, and that's why I did it the way I did it. Can we start again? Let's build this friendship again. You will be shocked at what you will hear.
hmm.
The approach just needs to change. That's the
And
truth.
so approach is key. It's very, very
True.
important.
Very key.
And maybe they don't know, but let me just put it out there. If you have teenage children, they are, in fact, they're in that category right now. They are very rebellious. And just so you know, even this, I would say this, but the schools that they are, it doesn't help. Like I tell you, because peer pressure is there and everything like that.
Yeah.
And I've from reliable sources heard that if you are not very close to your kids or they don't have that good rapport with you, I tell you, they'll get it from outside. And
True.
there's absolutely nothing you can do about that. So this is the best time for you to build that relationship with the kids and make sure that they're able to tell you certain things, or not even certain things, everything, everything. Is very, very, very important. I remember now. This brings me to I think this year that was February. We had a Black History Month, right?
Hmm.
And then I was just, randomly in school doing my stuff, and I got a call from my son's school, and she was like, "Oh, Mrs. Phillips, I just wanted to talk to you about something." I'm like, "Okay, go ahead. Why are you stuttering? What's the problem? Please, I don't have time, But she just said, "I just wanted to talk to you about your son." I'm like, "Okay, what happened? What did my son do?" Because I don't get calls like that. If I'm getting calls, I'm getting calls on praises. That's what we should be getting, right? So it was like, "Oh, he didn't do anything. In fact, I would like to say, you have raised a responsible boy." I said, "Okay, just
Wow.
go straight to the point.
As
What's the
in,
problem? Like, what's all this?" To the specific. That was February 23rd. So I'm like, "Okay, ma'am, I don't have time for this. I'm in class. Just tell me what is." Oh, like someone called your son the N word. I'm like, "Excuse me?" "Oh, they call your son the N word." I'm like, "Okay, where's that coming from? This is just elementary school. What's happening? What's happening? This is supposed to be like a Christian school. So what's
mhm,
happening? How did it get there?" You know. And then when they told me, "Oh, your son handled it well because he was just having his lunch," and then he just said, "Please don't call me that word again." And I've never even spoken to my son, myself and my spouse, like we've really not, sat him down to talk about this N word or all this stuff because we felt he's not yet in the high school. Of course, we are
mhm,
graduating there, but no, it's not there. So we felt maybe it wasn't important at that point. And then they said the way he took it, and he said, "Okay, don't call me that again. That's not the right thing." And then he stood up, moved his desk to another place, and then reported to the teacher. So eventually, that child got suspended because I wasn't going to take it lightly, because that's at elementary school. My point
mhm,
here is that it's always good to talk to your kids and tell them how best to act and react. Because imagine if you had reacted in another way, another manner, it would have been a different story, right? And he came home and we spoke about it. I was shocked. My son knew a lot that I even thought I knew about that word. And he said he was quite offended, and he told him, "Please don't talk that," in a very calm manner. I was like, if I'm the one, probably I would have even gone haywire because I would
no,
not do it the
straight
way
up.
you're handling it. I would. Because imagine Black History Month and you're doing that kind of thing. So it's very important you talk to your kids. And when they need to be scolded as well, you need to scold
Oh,
them. Like,
absolutely,
there's
absolutely.
that's
It's not
scold them
a
when they
talking to them is not a replacement for when you need to put
no.
your feet down. So yeah.
No, I tell you, no. So please, because some I've also understand that some Nigerians will come here and because of the way the culture and everything is, you see them like, "Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh, I don't want to do this." So before you know it now, by the time it's by the time you want to restrain the child, it's already
It's
too
too
late.
late. Yeah.
So you have to be able to balance the situation. Okay, I think we have actually even spoken about. I was gonna ask how we can balance our cultural values and parenting skills, but you've kind of thought based on that. So let's just take it straight to what are the telltale signs that a child is defying instructions, and what are the management techniques that we can actually apply to make that child come back to his reasonable senses?
Hmm. So I can only talk for myself, right? I can talk for myself from what I'm doing so far and what has worked.
Okay.
The parenting technique that my spouse and I have adopted is more, it's a combination of instruction and collaboration.
Okay.
So when we give instructions, is this instruction that I've given the only way this thing can be done, depending on what it is? So, typical example, clean your room. My children struggle with that. Like my daughter, especially, she wants to play with all her toys at the same time. So, when you walk into the room, everything is on the ground. And I've complained and complained, like, I don't like this. Just help us see reasons why cleanliness, your room has to be clean and things like that. But one day, she was sick. So, she was home, didn't go to school, and of course, I came up again, met her, all the toys on the ground. Before I got angry, I walked closer to what she was actually doing and saw that she had used all her stuffies to recreate her classroom inside her room.
Wow.
She was missing school, all her stuff. To me, oh, I was passing, I saw all your toys are on the ground again. To her, she recreated her classroom, put the big stuffy in front to be the teacher, and was mimicking a classroom because she missed being in school. So in that case, would I say she defied my instructions of cleaning her room? There was something else going on.
Yeah.
It's the same thing she used to do. My daughter is very creative. She's very crafty. She can carry scissors and cut her socks and use it to design monostrap dress
That's
for her
that's my
Barbie.
daughter. They need to connect.
I talked and talked and talked like, Daphne, no, these things cost money. You should stop doing this. Until one day I thought about it, like, but what if this is a gift that I'm trying
Mhm.
to stifle? Know what I did? I went to Dollarama and bought cheap socks. Say, take this one. See this set. You can cut this one. But this one that we buy, this is for school. Don't. Problem solved. In
Mm,
that case, would I have been justified to say, I told you not to do this and you still kept doing it? That's a
mm,
gift that was finding expression. That's where collaborative parenting comes in. Sometimes it's just to even take a step back and listen, take a step back and watch without talking. You might notice things that on a normal day would not have made sense.
mm,
Now, what we do with our kids, my son is a negotiator. He knows how to analyze, which means that he will analyze every instruction you give him. When I say, you know what, I don't want us to do it like that, I'm not getting away with not explaining why. He'll come back and say, you know, I don't think it was fair that you just said that and didn't provide more context. So please, can you explain? I'm telling you, that's what I'm dealing with right now. you know, so so am I now going to say, just give him instructions and walk away? He's not going to be able to obey that instruction because he doesn't even understand it.
okay.
So I'm learning now to collaborate and say, okay, actually, this is the end goal. This is what I'm trying to get us to do with this instruction. Do you have any other way you think we can do this to arrive at the same destination? Guess what? My children have given me suggestions that I did not even think about that worked. So at
Mm,
the end of the day, what is the goal? Are we trying to get a change of behavior? Is there any other way to get that done aside the way that I see it? Because the way I'm doing it is influenced by the way I have seen it done. Does not necessarily mean that that's the only way. Does not necessarily mean that that's even the right way. Sometimes we can be wrong. There have been times I've gone back to say, you know, when I was thinking about this is how it was in my head, but it came out wrong and I apologize. My children can call me out now because I've created that environment where they are safe. They feel safe and know that there's not going to be any reprisal, there's no punishment for saying, this is how I feel about what you have done. So my spouse and I are at the point right now where there have been the times where we're like, you know what, this is not making any sense. We're going in circles. In this case, I want you to trust that I'm your parent, and what I'm trying to do is in your best interest. I'm trying to keep you safe. So let's do it this way. If it doesn't work, we'll come back and try a different way. When it works, everybody moves. If it doesn't work, we come back and we try it. So we have that open, let the children talk. We have that once a week family meeting. We call it
that's
family
good.
night,
That's
where we
nice.
do in our family, where on this day everybody can say how they feel. Nobody takes anything personal.
Wow.
We all just learn it to know the adjustments that we need to make. It is working for us so far. That collaborative form of parenting, that whole only one person doing the talking. I
That's not
had to
work.
learn real quick that that's not going to help anybody here, and it had to change.
Okay, so there's an open policy
Yeah.
in the home. That's
Oh
good.
yes,
That's
we
very
do it
good.
for my family. We do, my spouse and I have something we do for just both of us, and then we have the one that we do for the entire family
That's
as well.
good. Wow, I learned something here today. That's very good. So once a week. Yeah, I hope you guys are learning. You'll be jotting down. It's very important. So
And if
that's
everybody,
very good.
anybody has any other tips, me too. I came here to learn, oh, not just to
Yes,
talk.
so we'll still open the chat session now. So just two more questions, then we'll wrap it up because she has been talking, about at least we've been learning. Okay, so I just want us to quickly identify the effect of peer pressure on these our kids. No matter how little they are, these children they are prone to having this peer pressure. And how can we boost the morale of our kids to tell them that they are enough to not succumb to any peer pressure in school? I do it myself. Like personally, I tell them, you are enough. Look at yourself. You are beautiful. Omo, you are enough. Put your head
Yeah.
up. Be visible. Make sure that you talk. Don't let anybody keep you on the low side. I try to tell them, like, talk when you need to talk, but don't be aggressive. Don't be this. Don't be that. So how can we identify if kids are going to into that domain whereby they are being influenced by their peers? So how do we identify such?
Again, a lot of it still comes back to what's happening inside your house. I was just smiling when you said you do it, you tell your children this. Let me tell you what I found out recently.
Hmm.
So there's this TV show my daughter likes that she watches. And she just came downstairs like abruptly one day and said, "Hey mom, can I go on a diet?" And I'm like, I don't understand. By diet, bow, how? Where is that coming from? And she's like, oh no, she just wants to be healthier. She just wants to be this. So she wants to go on a diet. I'm like, but you don't need to go on a diet to be healthy. Like the food that mommy and daddy provide for you, it contains all the nutrients, of the important food groups you need. So you are getting all the nourishment that your body needs. But why do you need to go on a diet? She now started talking about something she watched and how somebody was saying to be healthy, you have to go on this diet, like
Hmm.
projecting that you have to be a certain size to be
Hmm.
healthy. She's 8 years old.
Hmm.
Do you understand?
I get
That
it.
one is not another person. This is just a TV show. It may have been maybe like 2 minutes or less within an entire show. And I went back to go and check that show. So typically, what we used to do is before they watch any TV show, my husband and I will watch it first and vet it. Like we have to approve. So you cannot just start any new show by yourself. We approve everything. We have to check. So more than half the time, I have an idea of what they're watching and what they're consuming. But that one, I don't know how I missed that. That's just an example of the kind of pressures that our
Hmm.
children are facing. At 8 year old, all I had to do was ride tire on the streets. Like, who cared about diet? You ate what was provided. But an 8 year old now is starting to have the idea that to be a certain size means you're healthy. That's just what they have to deal with now in this day and age. So imagine taking two other children who have watched that show, putting them together in the same room. Do you see
Hmm.
the havoc that can wreak?
That's
And
right.
then, God forbid that your child is on the chubby side. It just puts an additional layer of pressure on them that
True.
is completely unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Mm-hmm.
pressure is a lot. A lot of attention to detail lies with the parents.
Mm.
When you say you have to talk, you have to have a voice, you have to not let anybody talk down on you, you don't have to let anybody make you feel bad about yourself. Fantastic suggestions, fantastic tips that parents can use. But then we also have to be careful that we're not doing things that directly contradict this thing. If your child is beautiful and they're going out and you say, you're the most beautiful child in the world, you're the most beautiful girl, you're the most handsome boy, and then tomorrow that child does something and you say, come on, come here, you big head. Direct conflict. Direct conflict. You're creating confusion. How can you tell me that I'm beautiful? That in the same vein, when you are angry, all of that flies out the window. Is it going to be okay if another person does that? Are you going to be comfortable if another person has that kind of, if somebody calls your child big head outside, is it going to be acceptable? No. But why is it acceptable for you to do it? So you see where a lot of the work lies with us. Our voice has to be consistent. The message you're passing has to stay consistent. I understand that in the place of anger, sometimes we can say some things, but you can quickly retrace your steps and go back and say, I was very wrong to say that. I was frustrated, I was angry, but I had no right to say that to you. It's not acceptable that I did that and I apologize.
Hmm.
So that way you are undoing what you have done.
You're done.
Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
So
I
the,
got you.
the language has to stay consistent. A lot of work has to go on inside the house. Self-esteem starts from home. Self-confidence starts from home. If you're telling them they have a voice, their voice has to be valid at home before it will be valid outside. If your children ask you why, that's not the time you want to say you dare not question why. Because if somebody hands my son a cigarette in school and say, take this, I want him in that moment to be able to say why. I want him to be able to say, tell me why I should be doing that.
Hmm.
But if he doesn't have where to practice, where is he going to learn the resolve to do that? The house is always going to be the first practice ground. As the parent, you are the first guinea pig. So if you want your children to be able to stand up and question things that are not right, they will practice it inside the house. And you must create an environment that is safe, that is non-threatening at home for them to be able to do that. If not, when the
Forget.
pressures of life hit them, there's not going to be any root that is strong enough for
For
their
them.
values to hold.
That's true. So, an enabling environment is very, very important
True.
so that the kids can always come back to you to, confide in you. Hmm.
So true.
Good. That's good. So, you see, I was just going to say, how do I encourage the kids to speak up and be able to discuss the situation? We just even touch based on
You have
that.
to sacrifice yourself. That's the
I
way they will
just
speak
so
up. Set
like you
trap.
said, you are the guinea
Let me
pig, so make
say
yourself
me
the guinea
sorry
pig.
to cut you. Let me tell you one trap that I started setting for my children recently, and it's
Okay,
working. I hope they can hear me. To do it's not.
be discreet. Oh.
I've been setting trap. So sometimes, like a Saturday morning like this, we're not doing anything. After we have breakfast, I crawl into bed sometimes with them, or make both of them come in my bed and say, guys, come on, let me give you guys gist about what my childhood was like. And I start to tell them about things that I used to do as a kid. That thing works wonders. The kind of things that I hear back when I first put myself on the chopping block, put myself on the line, because the kids are getting older. They are now aware. They are coming to point at the point where they will come to that stage where they can identify with the fact that I feel a certain way when I'm around this girl, or I feel a certain way when I'm around this boy. I have a crush on this person. I heard from my 8-year-old that there's ship in their class. Like when you see two people who like each other and they ship them. I
Hey.
heard it from my 8-year-old. So I know that they are shipping people in class to say, oh, those two people seems like they like to play together, they like each other, they have a crush. So these children are becoming aware.
Hmm.
I set trap with myself and told them, actually, when I was in this class, I also had a boy in my class that I liked. When he didn't come to school, I would feel bad. In fact, there were some days that my tummy would hurt because my friend was not in school. It's not a lie. That happened to me as a kid. Just to let them know that there's nothing you are dealing with that I've not already seen.
That's right.
I will tell them, and then they'll now say, really? Tell me more. Was daddy there? Was daddy aware? I'm like, no, daddy was not in the picture then. Like, I met daddy later. And sometimes they'll go to my husband to go and confirm this story.
Mhm.
Say, Mom, dad, did you know that when mommy was in school, she had somebody she had a crush on, and the person didn't come to school one day and mommy was crying? Like, I use myself to
Yeah.
say, mommy was a kid too. And I dealt with these things too. But this is how I managed it. When I came to this point, I knew I became aware of how I was feeling, but this is how I handled it. Just to let them know that, yes, what you're feeling, or if you have gotten to that point where you have those feelings, it is very valid, but there's a way to manage it. That way, when anybody feels a certain way around any girl in school, they'll come and tell me, you know what, mom, you remember that story you told me? Actually, I feel like this is what I want. They know they're coming to me with the problem and coming to me with the solution
Solution.
because I've told them I was there. You have to let your children see the human part of you. That superhero thing where your children will never see you cry, your children will never see you
Ah,
quarrel, your children
ah.
will never see you broke. They don't understand anything because you're trying to protect them. In our head, we're protecting them, but you're creating a false picture to them, a
Hmm.
picture that's not real.
That's a
My spouse
Nigerian
and I,
mentality.
we
Sorry.
can quarrel, we can quarrel in front of our children, we can argue in front of them, but we also see them, we also let them see us make up. They are learning conflict resolution from us to say the fact that two people argue, the fact that two of us quarrel does not mean we don't love each other. It's a part of human life. And I asked them, like, you and your sister, do you people not quarrel? And you people have separate rooms. Me and the one that has the same room, you now think we won't quarrel. Just to let them know.
That one not go possible.
How? And I hear a lot of people say it today, adults who say, I never ever saw my parents quarrel. So when they quarrel with their spouses, they don't know what to do because who taught you conflict resolution? Nobody. We learned as we
Ah,
were going,
we taught
but that's the
ourselves.
we
We
learned
taught
ourselves.
ourselves.
We
Yeah.
learned on the street. We were picking things as we were going, good, bad, and ugly. But
Yeah.
for us, we're trying to just paint that picture of, look, your parents are your parents, but they are humans, so there are things they don't know. So that you don't come with the expectation that I'm going to have an answer to your every question. I won't. The one that I don't have an answer for, we'll find the solution together.
Hmm.
But painting that picture of I am human, I am limited, I am flawed, I don't know it all. I will not intentionally hurt you. I'm going to do some things that are not good because my information is limited. That way, I am asking you to be gracious with me. If there's something you know that I don't, come and teach me, and vice versa. But the times that I need to put my feet down to say, look, there's one parent here and that parent is me. Yesterday, we're driving somewhere and my daughter told me, she said, Mom, I remember an instruction you gave me a while ago. I watched on also Upsum that thing you told me to do was not the correct thing. I was like, oh, really? So what's the correct thing? She told me. I'm like, well, that's what my own mommy told me. I repeated what I knew. So now that you know the correct thing, I have learned. Thank you for teaching me that.
Yeah, we all learn. No? Like I
I'm
tell my
telling
kids, I say
you.
I will learn from even the smallest of my child. I will learn because you
Yeah,
all learn. Nobody knows it all. You don't know it all, so you have to learn. We have to all learn together.
so
It's
true.
it's very very important. To be honest with you, thank you so much. I've really learned a lot. But so just to wrap it up, just give those. I don't like I said. I know we were talking before the whole live session. Many people are going through a lot, especially our Nigerian counterpart. They are kids. Like I said, I've seen kids at the shelter battling, a lot. I've had the opportunity to sit down with some of these kids, and then you hear their story, you feel like crying. But so what do you advise those immigrants coming in, or those preparing to come in, or those that are already in, and those that are not even, they're already really settled but still having issues with their kids? Just give us one or two lines, and then we'll open the chat section, and then we'll start answering questions.
For everybody who has a kid who's at that stage of the rebellion and they're struggling and they're having a hard time, my heart goes out to you because it can be very destabilizing as a parent when your kid is not doing well. For those people who are looking to come here, even if you have children who are doing well, you can never be over prepared, especially in a country like this. You cannot over prepare. Start to have conversations with your children. Ask them truly, how do you feel about this move that we're about to make? And I know that a lot of parents don't like to tell their children because you don't want it to come out. People are really not very open about relocation plans until you just see picture they're in a new place. But for the kind of family that you have, depending on the age of the children, you can be hypothetical to say, hey, we're thinking about this. How would you feel if we considered moving to this? And get what they will say. From their response, you can now say, okay, but these are the advantages. This is what it can be for you. This is what this can mean. These are the opportunities that this will open for you. But on the other side, it means that you might have to not see grandma every weekend. Grandma might now come to visit us 2 or 3 times a year. You will not see this person. But they can actually manage it for them. Start to have those conversations. And for those of you who are already here, and unfortunately the kids are already now on this path that you can no longer understand, we have to normalize counseling, especially in our Nigerian community. We have to normalize saying, I don't know what to do, and asking for help. That thing of, I don't want people to know I have a problem. Look, at the end of the day, tell me, like we were saying, when this your child gets into major trouble, they get into drugs and they go to jail, CTV is going to put it on the news. All of us will still know.
Live.
We are
CP24.
going to see it. It will still be public disgrace.
It
so,
will be public disgrace.
so instead
That
of you
won't be
to
our
wait
portion,
until
no.
it gets to that point, you have to know when to ask for help. And that brings me to the importance of community. See, when they say it takes a village, I'm learning to redefine that. It takes a village is not a random person just coming to raise your children. It's intentional village. It's intentional community. That's when we can say it takes a village. You have to know who build intentional communities where you're building relationships with people, where you know that the friends that I have in my circle right now, if my friend, the same way I was raised, if my mother's friend saw me in the wrong place, they can come down from their car and say, oh yeah, start going home. I'm looking at you now. That's what I'm doing now. Building relationships with people that have children in the same age ranges or people who share similar vision, similar values with me, such that if my friend sees my kid outside and they say, start going home now, my child knows not to even talk twice. You get up and you start moving. That's the kind of intentional village that I'm building for myself. So it's not any random person, because it takes a village is how some people got broken. It's in that village that some people got abused by people who were in the village, and it altered their lives for whatever period of time. So we must be intentional about community. Be intentional, build relationship with people that you will not be afraid to say, I am struggling. It's not a function of competition. We're not competing for whose child has the most A's. It's who you can go to and say, today I don't feel like I know what I'm doing. Help me. That's the kind of place you will be able to send your child, say, okay, they are going for sleepover here, and you'll be able to sleep with your two eyes closed. Not any random person, So
Sleepover.
it's important, that community, the building that support system. I cannot emphasize that enough. Very, very important. And if you have tried all of this, you have community and it doesn't seem like you all know what you're doing, get help. Get help. There are family therapists, there are professional counselors who provide all of this help. Some of them are specifically for immigrant children because they have been in these situations and they have resources that can help. Get comfortable asking for help. Get comfortable seeking therapy. It's not because you don't have faith. Therapy is not a replacement for Christianity. The fact that you go to therapy does not mean you're a bad Christian, you don't have faith, you do not pray enough. There's a place for prayer. God gave therapists wisdom for a reason. They go through all that training for a reason. So take advantage of it. Know when to combine what. There's a place for prayer, there's a place for action, and action includes intentionally going to seek help, getting the resources that you need to make this work easier for you. The resources are available. You don't have to do it by yourself. So that's the advice I'll give anybody. Be open your mind, expand your mind. Even you, adjustment is going on for you as an adult. If
Right.
you are struggling as an adult, struggling with getting accepted at work, struggling with people who can't pronounce your name, struggling with people who don't understand your experience, why do you think it is easier for your kids? They are struggling too. They're struggling too. And
That's
the
it.
fact that you brought them to Canada is not a favor to them. They don't see it. Maybe later in life, they will understand what the move did for them. But right here, right now, they don't understand it. And you must be patient to explain. You must be patient with yourself and be patient with them as well. And that's where help comes in. If you don't know what to do, there's help available. Take advantage of it.
Thank you so much, Marina. Wow, that was, in fact, it's really loaded. But above all, to recap, turn to God.
True
Okay?
that.
Turn to God. The heart of a man is in God's hands. So there's nothing God can't turn over. So turn to God while you are doing all these. Please turn to God. It's very important. Okay, thank you so much, Marina. Let's just quickly answer the questions that we have here. We have about 10 minutes left. I like to keep to time a lot. So let's just quickly answer this question. So um right here say boss give me boss. So if they are being obnoxious, what does one do?
If the children are being obnoxious,
Yeah.
what does that mean? Let's break it down. What do we call obnoxious? So see the example I use. If my daughter is not listening to me, she's not cleaning, what should I do? One day I threatened her that I was going to pack all the toys and burn it. I was not joking. But point of view changed, perspective changed. So what exactly does they're being obnoxious? What does that mean? Is it that
Okay.
you tell them to do things they are not doing it? Do they understand what you're telling them to do? Do they understand? What's the age of this child? Are they reaching that preteen age where it's almost like that teenage scorn that comes with when they are
It
becoming
comes. I
teenagers?
don't
They
even know
just
why
think that
that
they have
teenage thing.
arrived, they're on top of the world. Is there
I
any
don't
other
know.
way you can help them manage that, to help them know that, look, I was not born an adult. I passed through what you're passing through. Maybe you can use my style. Use yourself to set trap, to say, I was actually like this. Because see, and last, some of these behaviors we see in our children, they use and resemble somebody. Let's not forget. They use these things, resemble somebody. There's somebody in the family that they took some of those traits from.
That's
So no
right.
matter
It's the
how
gene.
straight you think you want to be right now, they mirror what they are seeing.
Hmm.
If you were an obnoxious child, why do you think snake must born waiting long? Your child
Hmm.
too go show you. All those things
That's
our
so.
parents used to tell us, your children too go do you. Now we they see so.
That's true. It's true. You don't
So
be
yes,
wrong
what
now.
exactly does obnoxious mean? What does that mean? Put it in context. And then think about all of the things that we've shared here today. Is there any other way you can rephrase the instruction? Is there any other way you can collaborate more with them, just so that just so that they understand the instruction and it will be easier to drive it home? But other than that, obnoxious is not a standalone. It can just be a response to something. You need to drill down to really see what the underlying reason is.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you so much, Marina. Boss, of course, it's talking to them is great, but then you have to be assertive. So
Oh
very
yeah,
important. That one is not negotiable. Like it is what it is. If you have any issues, please, okay, let's talk about it. And I like the fact that Marina said there's an open door policy. I like, I'm going to emulate that as well. Let's just be doing this open door. Okay, come on, let us talk this week. I just like that. And let's also, key into that. That way, they will pour out their mind and you know what you're doing wrong, what you're not doing wrong, and then everybody will adjust, and then the family will be happy again.
tell me, make sure you eat before you start open door policy, because some days you will hear some things that will almost throw you off your chair. And you have to manage it well so that they will come back next week.
If not, they will not come back now.
They will come back
But
next
we
week.
will
Oh.
try now. We will try. We'll try. But I like that idea, to be honest with you. I like, just like we have open door policies at some organizations, that way you're able to talk. And that's something I like about this country. You're not scared of anybody. You're able to walk to your supervisor, you're able to walk to your manager and just tell them, of course, in a respectful manner, how you
Of
feel.
course.
And also even sometimes suggest how you feel things should be handled, going forward. That's good. So we can also invite that in our various homes. Very
True.
good. Um, Great. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Onta. Oh, basically, I'm not sure we really have much questions, but so far it worked for us. Oh, okay, good. Oh, really? It looks like everybody knows this open door policy. I'm the only one just knowing about it too.
Welcome,
Thank you so
welcome.
much. Oh, look, now welcome you on board. Don't miss a don't learn now. Okay, thank you so much for those that joined us. Thank you so much, Marina. This is really nice. Very loaded. If you missed this live session, please, there's going to be a replay. You can always go back to replay, and please do not forget to support our channel. You can like, share, subscribe. My channel is Timmy Fields, as you can see, and hers is Marina Esiri. And just type it and you will see there. Thank you so much, guys, for joining us today. And hopefully would keep bringing once in a while. It's a very busy something, but we'll keep bringing live sessions to you guys. And I hope you guys enjoyed the session. And yeah.
Yeah.
Marina, anything you want to say before we say call it a
Well,
day?
thank you. Thank you very much for having me. For anybody who's on the live who would like to get in touch, because like I said, I do some of these settlement consultations. If you would just like to have a conversation to chat, you can send me an email and I would send you maybe like a link to my calendar to see where we can book some time to just have whatever conversations. My email is at marina.isiri@gmail.com if you're interested. It's also on my channel as well. So if you check out Marina Isiri, check out the description box of any of my videos. You will find options of ways to contact me, and it would be great to have a chat with you if there's something that works for you.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for joining us. Like I said, until next time, see you guys in the next video. It's bye from us. Bye.
Bye.
Okay.